You're listening to Bear Friend Tea Party.
Use jazz a potato.
Hello?
Hello.
It does Huey Lewis and
What's going on?
Just podcasting.
How's that going?
Podcasting. Not very well.
Bear Friend Tea Party.
You're listening to Bear Friend Tea Party. Thanks for joining us once again. We're here every night, once again, without fail, live, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Every single night, live. You can call in, join us in our hangout. From our fans every single night. Or just simply drop us a line on our Facebook page. Live. Send us a tweet. Leave a humorous fake comment on our web zone. Every single night. Every single night. Live. If you listen closely.
Yeah. Well, look at you, standing there in the mud. Swatting that flies with your tail, yeah. Oh, you ain't begging for a carrot or some oats, nah. Just chillin'. That's right, yeah. Just taking your time, yeah. Swatting that flies with your tail, yeah, that's right. You ain't one of them old-fashioned days. You're just a horse standing there, yeah, standing in the mud, swatting that flies with your tail, yeah. Stamping your hooves. If you want a carrot, yeah, licking sugar out of my hand, yeah, you know, you're just one of them old-fashioned men, just a horse standing there, yeah, standing there, horse standing there.
This is Bear Friend Tea Party theme music number 1.
Bear Friend Tea Party.
My name is D.Gibson, and I'm joined on the podcast tonight, as always, by impresario J.Mullis of North Carolina.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And depresario Jonathan Bumpers.
Hey, aloha. That means hello and good.
Bear Friend Tea Party is a live public access call-in show. We already have all our lines full, so let's get on with not taking those calls.
Maybe sometime we should actually pick up the phone. What do you think?
No, we got a new device this week. It's the big hang up button. It allows us to hang up on all 25 lines of callers at a time. So Jeremy, are you ready to press the big hang-up?
Oh. Wow, we've got a great show for you tonight.
You got it.
On the show tonight, segment 1, I don't care for kettlecorn, and fuck you if you have a problem with that. That should be a rousing discussion or statement, as the case may be. Segment 2...
Yeah, we'll see how long. It might not take us very long.
Segment 2, I hate all public radio comedic programming.
That's going to be a long one, because there's a lot of crap to talk about.
Segment 4, who here's driven any funny vehicles?
Wait.
Okay, so let's keep this on track.
So I do have 2 corrections, and interestingly, both of my corrections this week have to do with the band Wham.
Is that how you
Did we
say
talk
it?
about Wham?
I think that we have mentioned the band Wham 2 times, and in both cases...
Stop saying it like
in
that.
both cases, we have been incorrect.
If you're going to say it like that, you have to incorporate the exclamation point. Because
All right.
Anyway, in,
What's your correction?
Episode 00022, The True Prophet of the Abrahamic Tradition, in our discussion of the most insipid Christmas songs, someone had suggested the song Last Christmas by the band Wham! And, Danny, you quoted the lyrics to that song, Danny. You quoted the lyrics as, Last Christmas, you gave me your heart, but the very next day, I gave it away.
Yeah, so?
The correct lyric is, Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, but the very next day, you gave it away. So actually, your version, honestly, is kind of better. It's got a kind of a greater sense of melancholy.
They're both pretty mean-spirited.
Well, I mean, I think the song as written by Wham! It's kind of like a song about, like, it's, like, you broke up with me, but now it's, it's a year
it's from
later,
the point
and
of view
I'm
of
over
a jilted lover.
I'm over it now, and, like, I'm moving on.
Wait, so the real version is I gave you my
The
heart?
real version is I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away.
Like to somebody else?
It's not. I've never listened to all the lyrics, so I don't know.
It sounds
But that doesn't
like
make
the
any
you
sense.
in
Like
that
you could give it
construction,
back, but if you give
cheated
your
on the
heart, if
protagonist.
she gives the heart, if she gives your heart to somebody else, that means that you're in love with somebody else. Right?
The point I was making was just that
Makes that happen, like with a hex or something.
I think they were kind of belaboring the gift metaphor, to be perfectly fair. But the point was,
no. What if we read it?
It's an interesting thing.
In episode 00030, title to be announced, in our discussion of the song "I Refuse to Sing Along" by Bert and Ernie,
Great song.
we were talking about how it was kind of ironic that Bert in that song is singing along, but singing that he's not going to sing along, singing that he refuses to do so. And
bonus points for correctly defining irony. Right?
I thought the correction was going to be the misuse of the word irony. I don't know.
No, the correction. I haven't even finished the. I'm just setting the scene, you guys. So,
we're in the bathroom.
So we were doing a podcast.
Okay. So, let me set the scene. Bert's in the bathtub.
Yeah.
No, in our discussion
it's filled with bubbles, right? Like so many bubbles you can't see the water.
It's not actually.
Let's not get.
He's got a giant brush.
No, we don't know. We don't know for certain whether it's a bubble bath or a standard bath.
We do know it's a bubble bath because later on, I think Bob comes in and he says, "Oh, how are the bubbles?"
I thought Bob was dead.
No, you're thinking of
that's Mr. Hooper.
Mr. Hooper. But at the time this was recorded, I think Mr. Hooper may have still been alive.
He was probably alive because that was a good song, and that was back when things were good, before Mr. Hooper died. Alright, cut that out.
back before that evil Mr. Who replaced Mr. Hooper?
Mr. X, I believe.
Mr. X. Yeah, it was Mr. X, and he turned Hooper's store into a porn shop.
Anyway, we were discussing the song "I Refuse to Sing Along" by Bert and Ernie, and we were talking about the fact that it's ironic that Bert is saying "I refuse to sing along," but he's doing that in song, singing along with Ernie. I compared this to the music video for the Wham song "Careless Whisper," in which George Michael contends that he's never going to dance again, while simultaneously dancing around.
You know, maybe it's not so much ironic as it is.
The
just
correction is
It's a fair.
well.
It's
no.
kind of like that Fred Astaire song.
No.
Has a vacuum cleaner?
No. I won't dance.
I won't dance.
From Swing Time.
Well,
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
the correction
The one
though
where he's
is
like, he's talking about all the Marx Brothers.
I went back and I watched it, and the truth is George Michael is true to his word, and he does not dance around in that video. He kind of sways a bit, but there's no dancing. So I was off base.
Oh, Jesus, Jeremy.
Well, thanks for correcting that.
Yeah.
Well, I have a correction to your correction. Careless Whisper was technically released as George Michael's solo single, even though it was on Make It Big.
So you're saying I shouldn't refer to that as a Wham song?
That's actually bullshit.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so are there any addenda?
No.
Listener emails?
No.
How did he get his job there? Didn't he just show up unannounced and take his penis out? Well, I think it's a bit of a stretch to say that he took his penis out. He merely revealed his penis.
Their friend Tea Party.
So, segment 1. I don't care for kettlecorn, and fuck you if you have a problem with that.
So, lately, I feel like I've been hearing about kettlecorn a lot.
Yeah, okay.
And it just pisses me off.
Alright.
Okay, so, like, I like popcorn,
Yeah.
right?
Okay, yeah.
Right? I like some salty treats.
Mm-hmm.
You know, while I'm at the theater, for instance. You know,
Or like the fair.
or at the county fair, you know, where I've just won my girl a giant stuffed hippo.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get some cotton candy, we'll get some popcorn, we'll have a good time.
That happens.
We might even
Yeah.
ride the Ferris wheel.
Okay.
It goes around. Sorry, the merry-go-round that goes around.
They both
No,
they both
you were-
go
they
around.
both
I think
go
that's,
around.
I think that's fair.
So I've been into popcorn for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I first heard of kettlecorn, I want to say it was in college.
Really?
And somebody was like, "Oh, you like popcorn, huh?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you have some kettlecorn?" And I was like, okay, because I was young and impressionable, and I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I figured, why don't I try this new experience? Broaden my horizons.
Right.
And kettlecorn is fucking terrible.
Whoa.
Now, can we zoom out a little bit here and give this a little bit of context? Can you unpack that a little
Yeah.
bit? No, seriously. Kettlecorn. I guess I think of kettlecorn as being almost the same thing as caramel corn. Is that right?
It's definitely a step in the direction of caramel corn.
Or does it have nuts and shit in, like crackers?
No, I don't think so.
Kettlecorn is it's a specialized variety of popcorn that they make in a kettle, at the fair, and they like fry it up with a bit of sugar in there. So there is a bit of caramelization, but it's not like there's not caramel applied to it after the fact.
What's in it? Is popcorn, sugar,
corn oil,
salt. Yeah.
Yeah, I think probably originally when it was invented, which I think was in the late 18th century, it was
By Sir Thomas Kettle.
it was probably by Benjamin Franklin.
The Kettle Brothers?
You know what? I'm going to say it was Benjamin Franklin, just so I can correct it next episode.
Kettle Bros Kettlecorn. Our new sponsor, Kettle Bros.
Our new sponsor, Benjamin Franklin.
The only president of the United States who was never president of the United States.
So anyway, kettle corn is like, it's sort of halfway in between regular popcorn and caramel corn, in that it's both salty and sweet.
Yeah.
And that's what people love about it. It's like, oh, it's salty and it's sweet. And we love both of those things. I love both of those things, but not necessarily at the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it can be good.
I mostly agree with you. Yeah, there is.
But I don't like it.
certain
I don't like it. I
circumstances-
don't like kettle corn.
I think it's pretty good.
I'd rather have popcorn.
I'd rather have popcorn. What about choice between kettle corn and like cheddar cheese powder corn?
You mean like the cheese popcorn that you get in like 1/3 of a Topsy's barrel?
That's
The
what
one
I
that
think.
exactly
comes
what
in
you're
the
thinking
tub.
Yeah, it's like that's the only one that anybody eats, because the other two are usually caramel and like some crazy, disgusting looking red shit.
Yeah, red like either
It's like
cinnamon
popcorn. Yeah,
Sometimes there's like a butter flavored one.
that's true.
Yeah, that would be
that's
better.
true.
That one's pretty
I quite honestly, I would rather have kettle corn than cinnamon bullshit corn.
Can we just like say it outright? Like popcorn kind of sucks unless you make it at home.
Yeah, popcorn's not very good usually.
Oh, yeah, I guess I would agree with that. I mean, like, if you're talking about like popcorn that you buy at the grocery store in a bag, yeah, that shit it's barely.
That seems
popcorn
like
at all.
that seems just like a mistake.
Yeah. I think popcorn at like a movie
You don't even
theater is
consider.
okay.
I don't even consider ever buying popcorn at the store in a bag. It's like
There's something really sad about it.
it's like you're buying an empty bag.
But we're not here to talk about buying popcorn at the store.
Well, they sell kettle corn in bags at the store.
They do? Well, that's
Probably.
just stupid.
They sell it at the airport.
The airport I could see. I mean, that's kind of an event. I think kettle corn, it's like one of those snacks that has certain locations where it's acceptable, and like others, like, they have those candies that you can only buy at the movie theater, like those snow caps or whatever. Like, how fucked up would that be if you went to like a grocery store and they were selling snow caps? It'd be like, what the fuck?
I think they do
like-
sell snow caps at the.
No, they don't.
Probably do.
And
I'm gonna go buy some, and I'm gonna prove you wrong.
really?
I'm gonna address this in a future corrections.
Okay, look, snow caps may not be the best. What else?
Jujubes, milk duds,
You
No,
occasionally
you can get
see
milk
milk
dud- no,
duds
no.
elsewhere.
only on
In
Halloween.
any case,
It only
And
happens.
those tiny
on
little
Halloween.
like boxes the size of dice.
oh
They have
yeah,
like 2 milk duds inside.
fuck those.
Not that you'd want any. I'd rather have an empty box. So, and one of the best things about making popcorn at home is that you get to watch it pop and hear it pop
true.
and wait for it to pop.
Yeah,
and-
you're in control. You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah, you get to exit, like, forget about it
You
for
can,
a while, and then
you can
like,
fuck
it catches
up
on
yourself.
fire, and
Yeah, it's awesome.
cuts
And
off
well,
the
truly,
alarm.
actually the best part is that you can put like
a lot of butter
way
on
too
it.
much butter and salt on it.
a whole awful lot of butter. So that when you're finished with it, and so much salt that at the bottom, when you're finished with eating all the popcorn, there's just like a sludge.
There's so much
Butter
leftover salt
and
that you're like, well,
Salt. You kind of wait around and it gets congealed, and then you can like scoop it up with your fingertip, and it leaves like a gully in it. Is that the right word? Gully? Gulch?
I like gully.
Gully?
Yeah.
But there's like so much butter. When it congeals, the unpopped kernels are like stuck in the congealed butter. You know what I mean?
I don't think I...
Kind of like rocks in the sand. Like you turn the bowl upside down and the kernels don't fall out because they're... All right, this has gone off the rails. Do they make kettle corn in ball form?
Oh, like I hate popcorn balls.
I know.
Like any kind of popcorn ball.
Popcorn balls can be pretty good.
How do you even start?
To eat a popcorn ball?
Do you have to cut it in half?
To consider it food, I think is how I would have finished that.
No, I mean, I've never... How do you approach it? Like, if I saw one, and somebody gave me one, I'm like, eat it. I would be like...
I don't even approach it. I just turn around and walk the other way.
No, I mean, if somebody, like, shoved it in your face, it's like, well...
I'd be like, get that out of me! Go, You know?
You have to open your mouth wide enough to get it in, or you take a bite out of it like an apple? I don't quite understand.
You kind of start, like, gnawing on the side. You gnaw on the side a little.
But then don't your, like, lips and nose and shit get all...
And yet you have no problem, like, licking the congealed salt and butter goo out of the bottom of the popcorn bowl.
I didn't say I licked it out of the bottom of the bowl. I said I used my finger to scoop it up.
Okay, but you get like salt goo all over your...
Actually, sometimes I use all 4 fingers at once.
Actually, no, I'll give you that. That's less gross than getting shit on your face.
Yeah, because I end up getting a salty, buttery taste instead of a fucking sweet-ass popcorn taste. So, okay, listeners at home, if you're still there, and don't... Callers on the line, we're going to get to you. Just hang tight.
Switchboard is
blowing up tonight.
rolling up.
Here's...
about to catch on fire.
Regular listeners will note the absence of a key player, Christopher Winter. Chris couldn't make it tonight, but he did leave behind some contributions to every topic, I think. So what did Chris leave as his opinion on I really don't care for kettle corn and fuck you if you have a problem with that?
He said...
I personally like kettle corn, but if you feel differently, that is your prerogative. More kettle corn for me.
He says. So he's kind of ending it on kind of a whimsical note there.
So in that situation, I would say not fuck you to Chris. Because he doesn't have a problem. And I don't have a problem with people that like kettle corn. I just have a problem with people shoving it in my fucking face.
Does that happen to you a lot?
Sounds like you're backpedaling a little bit there, John, because initially you just...
Yeah.
I think you said fuck you. If you have a
I
problem
said,
with that. Like,
I said fuck you if you have a problem with that.
I mean,
but it seems like you're
It's like I don't like being murdered, and fuck you if you have a problem with that. That doesn't mean I say fuck you to everybody.
Only people
that have a problem with not murdering me.
What do you think?
If people are coming at you.
Do you experience do you get a lot of pushback on your these opinions you have about kettle corn, John?
I have to say they're largely closeted most of the time. I feel like most of the time I feel a lot of social pressure in these situations because I'm in like big groups of people and they're all like, "Hey, let's go to the store and get some kettle corn," you know? And then like everybody goes and buys some kettle corn and then we like hang out and kettle corn,
and even if
just like,
even
like
if people don't
I'll have a little bit of
it,
kettle corn because
it's in a language. It's in a language they use. Maybe even inadvertently it's just built into they discriminated without even really realizing it.
Yeah,
because you don't it's just it's inherent in our.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed this, guys, but if you look at our money, it says "In kettle corn we trust." I don't know if you.
Is that what the giant eyeball is all about? It's like actually a big piece of popcorn. Giant piece of popcorn.
Actually, I think it's a piece of cinnamon corn.
I'm moving to Canada. Cinnamon corn. I put those in the same category as red hot nonpareils.
Wait, red hot?
You know what I'm talking about? This little like fucking. They're not sprinkles, but they're not.
They're not sprinkles?
Candy.
Oh!
They're red hots.
But they're like sprinkle sized?
No, they're the size of like, they look like M&M's, but they're tiny ass M&M's.
Talking about red hots.
Red hots, yeah. You put them on.
What are red hots?
They're nonpareils, meaning they're in the like they're in the baking aisle. Are you putting me on here?
They're what? What was that term they used?
Nonpareil.
No. What? Are you bringing French into this discussion of candy?
Am I saying it wrong?
I think it's confusing the situation to keep saying that, but I think you are saying it correctly enough.
No, please keep saying it.
It's in the same. It comes in a little shaker right next to the like sprinkles, the rainbow sprinkles, and the
It's in the baking aisle. It's
ones.
next to the food coloring and all that.
Nonpareil, a decorative confectionery of tiny balls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're red. And
Oh yeah, those are
they're
Red Hots. I thought
disgusting.
Red Hots were more like Mike and Ike's.
No, you're thinking of hot tamales.
That I am thinking of hot tamales. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that was a close one.
Have you guys heard of fairy bread?
Go
Now,
on.
how's that spelled?
F-A-I-R-Y space bread.
So it's not like bread you get while you're riding the ferry.
No. It's bread. It's bread with nonpareils on it.
Maybe it's nonpareil.
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 I mean, if it is French, then I guess you would hold the L. But if it's
But also the S. Basically, like most French words, you don't say the last half of the word.
Though it could be one of those French words that the French don't actually say, or like in French it means like penis, or like to grab the penis of the person next to you, or something.
I didn't learn about that in French class, but then again, I was in the advanced French class, so maybe they assumed I already knew it. No, but
Presumably.
it is probably one of those terms that maybe it's like 25 years out of date vernacular, like zut alors.
Are you telling me that French people do not actually say zut alors when they're surprised?
I don't think they do.
Well, they do in every Disney movie about a Little Mermaid that I've seen.
Yeah, they definitely do in movies.
Well, that movie took place in the past, though.
Oh, that's true. I thought it was in the future.
It's ambiguous. It's meant to be it's kind of like Star Wars, you know. It's. I know that actually.
Star Wars is explicitly in the past.
You're right. It's the first thing you learn about them.
If you trust those yellow words at the beginning, which
I think they're there to throw you off.
The unreliable narrator.
Bear friend tea party. 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 Bear friend tea party.
Topic 2.
Okay, so guys, I hate all public radio comedic programming.
Okay. Can you speak to that?
I find it really. It's the same shit that was on the radio like when I was 5, and it hasn't changed at all. And I just find it more and more obnoxious and just like not in the slightest bit funny and just like phoning it in, kind of just garbage. I don't like.
Are we talking about like Jeremy? Are you talking about like Prairie Home Companion?
Among others. I mean, I include in this all public radio comedic programming, and I have yet to find a counterexample.
So you mean like even all the like sort of like tongue-in-cheek non-game shows?
Well, whoa. Let's talk about the game shows. Like, do you not like Wait, Don't Tell Me?
No, I hate that show.
Why?
Because the guy who hosts it is insipid.
Insipid?
That Peter Sagal he's insufferable.
He's great. He's delightful.
Unbearable.
He's delightful.
He's awful.
He's delightful.
He's awful.
He's delightful.
He's awful.
He's delightful.
He's awful.
He's delightful. I don't know what your problem is.
He's just so like.
What do you hate about him?
I don't like his attitude. He's like smarmy, and you get the impression that he thinks he's very funny, but he's actually like he never actually says anything funny. He just kind of comes off like a dick.
I guess if you didn't think that the things that he says were funny...
Well, no, I mean, the things that he says are objectively unfunny.
I'm not going to touch that.
it's just too unedgy.
They're all. Everything is all a little bit cutesy.
It's
a little bit like.
No, it's
safe
a little. I'll
and-
give you that. It's a little like vanilla. It's a little tame.
So
vanilla. If you're looking for like an edgy NPR news quiz, like you know,
Yeah,
you're not
hold
gonna
it right
get
there.
that. But I don't know. I think it's except when PJ O'Rourke is on. I fucking hate that guy.
I just think they should end the shows that like Car Talk. Like one of the guys is dead, and they've been playing just repeats for like 3 years now or something.
Oh, at least 3 years, yeah.
And their plan is to
think
just
they've
like
been doing that for like.
I
10 years.
felt it like utterly betrayed when I found that out because like
I didn't because like what's the fucking difference? Like the fact that you didn't notice just makes my point.
I don't know if it makes your point.
Well, I think it
I think it
certainly
makes a point about the
bolsters my point.
timeless quality of the show.
It's not timeless though. They're talking about like if that's are they going to still be playing that in 20 years when everyone's driving around in like electric flying cars and they're going to
Yes,
like
I
have people,
bet you they will.
They're going to have people still just be playing the
I
same calls
bet you
where like someone's
$1,000
calling in
that
because
they
they're
will.
like their 85 Honda Accord is making a noise like a and then they're
Yeah, they'll probably call it,
make
Car
that
Talk
noise
Classic
again.
or something, and maybe
Make
by
that
then
noise again,
there
and then
will
we'll
be,
read
like
some,
a
like,
modern
fucking
version of the show with some
shit
DJ
we got
assholes.
off. Yeah, I can't stand that one. I hate the Prairie Home Companion. I feel like is just unbearable.
No, I'm with you there. That is the worst thing that humanity has ever come up with.
That is awful.
Yeah.
No,
I think we
like,
can all
could
agree
he,
on that.
It's like, could he be phoning it in more? I feel
But
like,
I mean, but the fact that it's like it's supposed to be that way, and it's like nudge,
it's supposed
nudge.
to be phoned
it's,
in.
It's
like,
phoned
it's
in.
so charming because it's like a throwback to, I don't know.
I don't think
bullshit.
I don't think it's supposed to be phoned in. I think
No, it totally it is.
I mean,
Have you guys ever listened to what's that show?
What Do You Know with Michael Feldman? That's even worse. I feel like
That's not
What
what
Do
I
You
was
Know
going
with
for, but
Michael
all right.
Feldman. That's like the show for like NPR affiliates who can't afford a Prairie Home Companion.
What do you know? I think of myself as somebody that likes that show, but truth be told, I hardly ever listen to it. But you know, the problem with that show is that it's 2 hours long.
It's 2 hours long. It's aggressively unfunny, and it's been on the air exactly the same for like my entire life. Like, I don't understand. If you listen to that show, he does that whole. He starts it off with that whole like, this is the news that isn't, where he does his like, I'm using air quotes, funny, like topical.
Yeah, no, I get it. You don't think it's funny.
No one, even if you listen to it, like, the audience doesn't even think it's funny. And he, like, acknowledges that, like, no one is laughing at this. It's like every episode he goes on and he bombs. And then he's like, well, let's keep doing that bit. No one seems to like that. No one's like this for 20 years.
I'm not, you know,
let's keep doing
I'm not in love with the show. I actually prefer Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me.
I mean, I think you might like. I mean, Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. That's only been on for like 15 years now. Give that one another 10 or 15 years and see if you still feel that it has that like youthful energy.
I have to say, I think Car Talk is pretty funny most of the time. But
Car Talk is like the definition of not edgy, and that's why it's awesome.
Car Talk there's no content on that show. They don't even talk about cars anymore. It's just like a couple of old dudes just like snorting at each other.
But Jeremy, the appeal of Car Talk was never the like the sagacity, you know, of these like storied mechanics and their car knowledge. Like, I don't give a shit about any of that mechanic bullshit. You know, it's their own like horrible, shitty humor and like ridiculous entertainment at themselves. Like that's what makes the show.
They're good personalities, and they play off of each other because
they play off of each other really well. Yeah, and they have a really good dynamic between the two of them.
I guess but why do those shows all have? Why do they have to last forever? Why do they each have to be like at least 2 hours long and run for 40 years?
Because a lot of us went through like serious bouts of depression when we learned that Car Talk was going to end. Because people love these shows. Because they connect in a visceral, like a way. I don't know.
Fuck that. Well, I don't love them. I hate
something about the zeitgeist. Well, stop listening to them.
I don't listen to them, but sometimes you turn on the radio and they're on. It's like any time I turn on the radio over the weekend, like that fucking Prairie Home Companion is on.
Yeah, that shit
I fucking
sucks.
hate Prairie Home Companion.
That shit does suck.
Let's talk about that.
It's like, yeah.
Why is it so terrible?
I think it was summed up by, what is it? I think Homer Simpson is watching it one time, and he just at one point he just goes, "What the hell's so funny?"
But that's how all of that programming is. That's like the way you feel about that programming.
It's the way you feel about all of them. Yeah, no, I got that.
And I think it's hard to. I guess I've come to this opinion over. I used to be like you.
I think that most of the shows have a similar flavor because I think a lot of them are produced in-house. Car Talk is like they were their own thing and they got picked up by it.
I mean, but they should just they should let these fucking things end. I mean, probably like when did Car Talk start? In like the fucking 80s? In like the early 80s or something?
Car Talk first aired in 1977.
Probably kind of interesting. Probably kind of an interesting show that you could run for like a few years.
I wish I'd called in.
To Car Talk?
You ever called into a show before?
No.
I know. I never have either. I kind of want to something.
Or the dog is walking over the bridge. Because he's got a bone in his mouth and he sees his reflection, right? Me with a snake. Me, man's best friend.
Their friend tea party.
Topic 4.
Segment 4. Who here's driven any funny vehicles?
All right, this is my. I'll be leading this segment. I thought we could start this off by just listing funny vehicles because I didn't want to go through the trouble of defining, decisively what is a funny vehicle.
Well,
I just because I don't really know. It doesn't have an answer.
I mean,
it's
any vehicle shaped like a food item.
subjective.
Yes,